Alright, this is going to be one of the first videos. By the way, welcome to the show. Um, Typically, first videos don't go as planned, especially when just off the cuff, no scripts, nothing. Today, I had a challenge. I found myself in the path of a micro center. It was pure coincidence that I put my GPS to it. Okay, so I had a challenge, self-imposed challenge, that I was going to build a computer, a powerful computer with room to spare, and not breaking the bank. Now there are many different levels of computers that you can build. A lot of them they can break the bank. Some of them very inexpensive, but it's so much you can do with it. So how about not quite in the middle, but a little bit less than the middle, but yet have much greater possibilities with it. So I did a little research on their website and came across several different components that I think I was able to achieve that. So let's see. And now let's go ahead and meet the components. One of them is the case. Of course, now for those of you that know computer parts and stuff like that, it is not the most elegant case. Says they're powerful front I/O, so that definitely sold me there. Yeah, powerful front I/O. Whatever that means. But actually, what sold me was the price. Micro Center sells them for $40 or something like that. And yes, cases are not that expensive, and I can get a much more erotic case for $100. But the thing is that the components will fit. It is liquid cool ready or whatever, meaning that you can hang a liquid cool component to it. It does have the false wall that you can route cables behind it. It has plenty of room for the power supply and the different various of motherboards you can fit in it. So it does the job. You still can put a GPU card in it. Now I don't know if you can put a large water reservoir in there, a large cooling system, and a gazillion fans. I'm not quite sure. We'll see. But the thing is that the purpose of the build is not to do quantum physics or build a machine that you can mine bitcoins and become millionaires in a week. No, that's not gonna happen anyway. So this works, and for $40, come on, when I'm tired of it, I can turn it into a planter if I wanted to. Okay, so, or if it's not too sharp, I can have my cats have it up, give it to them, and they can do whatever they want with it. So that's the case, and later on we're gonna open it up and stuff like that, so we can actually see how it is. And yes, I chose the white color. I do have an old Alienware Aurora, which is black color, so I'm like, let's see how how the white case is gonna look next to it or somewhere. So the next component is a motherboard. The Pro Z7090P is an Intel motherboard, and it was very inexpensive. It has tons of room to spend. Let me just turn it this way. And of course the lighting, messes with the gloss of the paper, so so bear with me on that. But yeah, you can actually install a i9 on it. So that right there, it gives me room for expansion, and it can support 128 gigs of memory. Yeah, I know I wasn't going to build a machine that can solve world hunger and stuff like that, and GPT-4 I think is working on that, isn't it? I think. Or is it the other way? Well, anyway, yes, a 32 gig would have been just fine. It would have cost less than this, but it's there. It comes with it, so one day I might probably. Santa Claus. He's coming to town, so he might have a few extra sticks in his bag. Another thing also that this one has, 4 M2 slots on it, in addition to I think it's like 6. Let me see, 6 additional SATA possible drives that I can connect to them too. So yeah, I mean plenty. Also Wi-Fi. It's Wi-Fi integrated, and Bluetooth. So it's a gaming motherboard. I mean that's what they call them. Because they add those little things here and there. Yes, you can buy a dongle or a card or whatever, and voila. You don't have to bother the CPU cycles and power and stuff like that. Well, in a sense, to handle the extra load for the Wi-Fi if you connect to Wi-Fi. But this one also has a 2.5 gigabit card in it, capable up to 2.5 gigs. If of course you have your LAN, your local network, your service provider equipment that you have in your house that can support that speed. So yeah, it does support it. It's nice to have, but in that case, let's see if your network supports it. I'm not quite sure if any of the new service provider modems have a 2.5 gig LAN port on it, a network port on it. I'm not quite sure, but most of them don't. So, but it's there. It is there. Okay. All the features it has. Let's see. Of course, I cannot read this upside down. So, besides the obvious, one of the good things that it has is that it includes built into the motherboard 2 video outputs, DisplayPort and HDMI, which obviously they're 4K obviously. You have a slew of USB ports, and let me see, 8, about 8 or more USB ports that can be plugged in, besides the actually the 8 are on the back side, but you still have additional ones you can plug onto the motherboard for the case. So yeah, so you're probably not gonna run out of USB ports, just like the floppy drives. Yeah, we never fill those up. Yeah. So plenty of USB ports, plenty of M2 slots, plenty of SATA ports. So this motherboard is very capable. Now the memory is only limited to DDR4, doesn't support DDR5, but you have a slew of compatibilities as far as the speed is concerned. So it's plenty capable. Let's see now with the audio. Yeah, you have your 7.1 audio capable outputs. If you're gonna run, your entire audio system to this, and which will be, of course, an additional set of speakers that you will have. But it does. So it's there. It's there. Oh, by the way, one of the USB ports besides 2.0 and 3.0, which is 2 of them, it also includes one C-type. So yeah, again, everything you ever need, and also it has a on the motherboard itself, for the front of the case. If you have a C-type, it also has a separate port, so one on the back and one inside of the motherboard for the case. So yeah, it is very, very capable. It doesn't break the bank. I think it was like $130 or something like that. So yeah, I think I'm very very happy with this, and let's see what it can handle, because later on we're gonna put it together in another video. We're gonna put it together and we're gonna test it out. So now, motherboard down. As part of not breaking the bank, was obviously many different choices of CPU. You have the i3, the i5, i7, and the i9 and stuff like that. But that was a little bit too out of the reach of the intent of this video, of course, of the mission. So I didn't want to go with an i3, less, have too much, too little to offer. Yes, it would have been a really budget machine, but if I actually wanted to throw in a GPU card, a dedicated GPU card, which I didn't get on this trip, I wanted to have something that it could potentially give me some satisfaction as far as playing some games and be able to handle it. Yes, the i7 would have been ideal, of course. They're not that expensive, but again, I just wanted to make sure that was within the budget that I set for myself, which of course I broke when I got to the store and just changed my mind a couple times. So what I ended up getting is an i5. It's a 12 gen. It is the i5 12600K, and there it is. Let's see again. Sorry, the glossy thing just does not help. Let me see if this camera does any justice. Let's see. Yeah. Anyway, so this one in particular It's a 10 core, 3.5 gigahertz. Obviously, it gets divided. The cores get divided into threads. So you have, in a sense, 12 mini cores, and it has 20 megs of cache, which is it's okay, because each core is gonna need its own internal memory, etc., etc. So there is another one that was like $30 cheaper than this, but that was only a 6 core, and it only had 18 megs of internal memory and stuff like that for cache, level 1, 2, I think 3 also cache. So I initially went with that one, but then after comparing what $30 more was given me with this one, I went to the store today again, and so I exchanged it for this here, and then I bought some other stuff. So besides breaking the budget yesterday by upgrading to this, I bought a couple wireless modems and stuff like that. Upgrade my wireless modems. So I broke the budget twice. So kind of sort of gonna be prohibited from going to any computer stores anytime soon. Yeah, but anyway, so I went ahead and went with this one in particular, because it gave me obviously more cores. Obviously, this one has dedicated cores for different tasks. So it will have 6 for performance and stuff like that, and the other 4 for just regular tasks. It's something like that. It divides it, in that way. So you have dedicated portions of the CPU doing specific tasks, while at the same time having enough juice to do the background stuff. So there is a benefit with that model. So another thing that this one has, which one thing that kind of prevented me from going in the middle ground of these two i5s, is that I needed to have a CPU that had internal graphics capabilities, because this motherboard and the graphics output that it has requires a CPU that will give it some attention. Obviously, if I will have an external dedicated video card for it, yeah, but what is the use to have video outputs and then cheap out on a lesser CPU that doesn't give me the full capabilities of the motherboard? So I went ahead and just to stay within the budget, I went ahead and just got this here. It gives me the enough cores to play around. It supports a whole bunch of security features that I may not need. Most of the processors, they support virtualization, just in case if you want to throw in Hyper-V and play with Hyper-V or any of the various other virtualization technologies out there, depending on the operating system that I want to throw in here. So They all support it, but this one also had a couple other features that the other i5 didn't have, as far as virtualization, and besides security, pre-boot code execution, and the other other stuff there. And the thing is that, yes, I might not need it. Maybe the machine's not gonna be plugged into the. No, it's impossible to be unplugged from the internet unless you live, in a cave or something like that. And then you play solitaire. Other than that, yeah, I don't see how you can even live, being plugged into the internet. But anyway, so since Microsoft started pretty much changing their operating system, and not that they're forcing everybody to switch to Windows 11. I'm not saying that. Obviously, it's for our own security, of course. So that was the other thing. I'm like, well, this other i5, which was cheaper, it doesn't have the cores that I need, that I will feel more comfortable with. Given it the freedom of playing games or whatever. But it also didn't have the rest of the security features that perhaps Windows 11 or any other iteration of Windows 11 might not support. So I didn't want to be in the situation where I would install Windows 11 and it would be happy because the processor supports whatever features Windows 11 will be happy with at the moment. But then the moment that Windows decides to throw in the next update, then we'll leave my CPU out because it doesn't have some other features that Windows might probably require. So that was another thing. That's why I said, what, there's just too many tick marks that are missing. So I just went ahead and just spend the extra $30. Yes, not a lot, but again, the mission was a semi-budget machine capable of doing many things, and I think I achieved that. I think I got there. I think so. I think I'm gonna be happy with this here. Now, I haven't researched any benchmarking on any of the parts, to include the box, which we'll see how it handles. So I'll see how my happiness level is gonna be after this. So we're gonna have to put it to the test, with and without a GPU. So we'll see how it goes. All right. So enough of that i5 processor, which of course is listed at $319. I didn't pay that. Okay, so I paid a fraction of that. I think the sticker is just a sticker. So for the next component, I'm gonna put this away. Memory. Just your regular DD4 3200. Let's see. Memory sticks. So there are two 16s in here. It doesn't have any LEDs. At this point, it's like, hey, that it's okay. Chances are for the machine to be seen from outer space are minimum at this time, of course. This is okay. This pair here costs $50, so it was not bad. 32 gigs, DDR4, Not bad. Unfortunately, they didn't have single 32 gig DIMMs, because if I do want to have more than 64, because the motherboard has 4 slots, if I want to have more than 64 gigs of memory for whatever crazy reason, the best course of action is to have 32 gig DIMMs. So yeah. So now, of course, these are dual channel, nothing too fancy. So this will do. 32 gigs is just fine. Even 16 would have been fine too. But I just went ahead and just spend the let me see, like $10 or $15 extra, something like that, and got these. So yeah, so this will definitely do. Let's just put this here. I guess I'm showing this out of order. After the CPU, yeah, this should have been, next, because without the heatsink, a CPU is just simply a hot plate, but you can cook stuff. Unfortunately, it wouldn't last that long. So and that's bad. That's bad for computers or anything that needs to run under a load that you wanted to keep, running. So let's go ahead and unbox this. Since it's just not too much stuff in here, it's just throwing stuff all over the place. Is one of those be quiet. Sorry, I'm just making a mess. I'll do this. I'll do this later. Let's just. I'm getting too excited here, and I'm just making a mess. Yes, I'll. All right. So this pretty much it will do what it says it's gonna do. Keep the CPU cool. Now on this here, you cannot go cheap. Well, not cheap, but okay, not too cheap. Because you do want to have a heatsink. And actually that looks pretty good. Okay, yeah. You do want to have a heatsink that has a lot of surface area. And obviously this is an enclosed system. It is not a water cool. It's only an i5. This would run an i7 okay. This is an overkill for an i5, but again, I'm thinking a little bit ahead, and this was only $30. So yeah, I think a pretty good bargain. But the main thing is that you do want to have something that you don't want to have one of those that is just a pancake, very thin. Radiators, these little fins here, small fan. You don't want to have that, because you're not going to have the cooling capabilities that your CPU is going to need. Yes, I've could have gone with a cheaper one, little pancake ones and stuff like that, but I will be borderline destroying the CPU. So this one is gonna do really good with this CPU. In i7s, I would be fine. i9, I wouldn't use this. Liquid cool would be better. Yes, i7s too. Obviously, any other CPU you can do liquid cool. Obviously, it's not gonna fit. It's gonna be maybe an overkill. Especially for this i5, it would be an overkill. Maybe later on, if I see something on sale, I'm gonna probably grab it and and save it. I wouldn't install it with an i5, because then you have to clean the paste, the heatsink paste and stuff like that. And if this is gonna be working just fine, I'll just leave it alone. I wouldn't change the heatsink system until I'll upgrade the CPU. Unless, of course, you don't have the appropriate CPU, and I mean, his CPU heatsink, and then you need to. But in my case, I'll be fine. All right. So next item on the list is the power supply. Power supplies are very important. So they come in many different flavors, wattage, because mainly your CPU and of course all the components that you're gonna throw in the motherboard, and not to say the peripherals, the GPU card, they're gonna be hungry. They're gonna want you to feed it, and the power supply is how you feed your components and everything you attach to it. And it needs power. So not just because you plug it into the 120 on the wall, it means that it's going to have all that it needs delivered to it, and everything is attached to the motherboard. So the power supply sits pretty much in between the outlet and the rest of the stuff inside your computer and anything attached to it. So you can go cheap on it. So I went ahead and I got an 850 watts power supply. Yes, I would be just fine with a 500, which that's what you get with a regular computer nowadays, a non-gaming one, and probably less than that if they do have them. But I went ahead and got an 850 because I know I'm going to upgrade the CPU eventually on this thing. And you know what? In the case, my C will be the same. So that's how important the case is. Unless you look for aesthetics, unless the stuff that you put in there doesn't fit. But I think we'll be fine with that. This will fit in that case. So I know the box is huge, but it's just the power supply is not that big. I mean, it is big, but it's not as big as this box. But it will fit in all, most of the cases, pretty much all the cases. So with an 850 watt, I'll be able to install an 800 series NVIDIA card, which will be plenty of power. So I'm ahead of the game with that, and that's what I want it to be, because all the cables that you run to your motherboard, and we're going to see that in another video, pretty much are connected to your power supply. And if you change brands, some of the connectors are different. And I just didn't want to take this whole thing apart, because I went ahead and got a 500 watt power supply that probably wouldn't be able to run an electric toothbrush. No, not really, but it will. But yeah, so I just went ahead and just got this one. Now, if I wanted to, obviously, in the future, get a much more powerful card than the 800 series, then I will have to change the power supply to like a 1000 plus watt power supply. Now, since we are requesting or ingesting, our devices are ingesting power, this will allow it to provide all the power that it needs, all the components in there, and all that stuff. And of course, it will be demanding that from your outlet. So the higher the wattage is on your power supply, the more power you're gonna be also ingesting from your grid. Now, of course, if the demand is there from your components, this will provide it up to the capacity that it's capable of. But in turns, of course, it has to get it from somewhere. And what I'm going with this is that if you need a large power supply because you have a power hungry GPU card or two or what have you, yes, your meter will be running a little bit faster, and your room will be definitely a little bit toasty. So because the heat generated, and that's another byproduct of digesting, all that power. It comes out, in heat. And kind of sort of humans do the same thing in energy, calories, all that stuff. But anyway, so I went ahead and got this power supply because it's going to provide me with enough power for at least 2 or 3 upgrades, probably. Depending, especially the video card, especially the GPU. That's pretty much what's going to drive how many times I will have to change the power supply, which probably not too many. By the time I have to change the power supply, I'm pretty sure we'll have nanotubing CPUs that we can actually buy off the shelf by then. Who knows? Who knows? But I know that this here is going to support a range of GPU cards, which are the most power hungry device in your machine, and of course, yes, your CPU too. So I'll be good with this one here, without having to replace it and pretty much taking the case apart, the whole thing apart, just to get all those cables out of there. Because if I have to, the next power supply may not be compatible with the same connectors. Some power supplies have a combination of both, where you have a hardwire connectors and plug-in connectors too. So when choosing a power supply, you definitely have to think about the future, or where you want to be at. I didn't want to get a 650 watt power supply. That wouldn't get me too far. A 750 was in the middle, but it was only like maybe $10 cheaper than this one or something like that. So I just went ahead and got the 850. Now when you go into the 1000, it's the price goes up a little bit more, and depending on the brand, of course. So that's what I got. And I see, because I didn't get the GPU card this time. But yeah. So the next video, we're gonna go ahead and unbox all this stuff. I've been talking too much, and we're gonna go ahead and start putting this stuff together. All right. Until then, I'll see you.